The Starfinder Society is probably one of the most complicated, complex factions when it comes to Starfinder itself. This society within Starfinder actually has 5 factions or sub-factions within its own ranks. And each of these factions completes a separate but specific job for the Starfinder Society. First, you have the Acquisitives. They're kind of like the hype man for Starfinder Society. They go out, they promote, they try to gain resources to further not only their own goals, but also the Starfinder Society's goals as well. The Dataphiles, well, they like data. They are trying to decipher what happened in that brief period of time, centuries really, that is missing from the history of Golarion, what happened to the planet. So this particular group is obsessed with collecting and deciphering the various bits of information that they find throughout the universe. The Exo Guardians are obsessed with protecting the Pact Worlds only. They do actually use some of the exploratory missions to go see what's on the horizon, see if there's any threats that need to be reported back, and they use this information for advance notice. The second Seekers are the ones who will carry out the will, the wishes, the whims of the first Seeker. The first Seeker is the leader of the Starfinder Society. They make sure that the operation is running, they lay down the ground rules. They're what they might call kind of a big deal. The current first Seeker is Luasi El Sibo, and her main task right now is to figure out what happened to her predecessor. The first Seeker is a short-term elected position when it comes to the Starfinder Society. It is also an elected position. The previous first Seeker was Jadnura, and they disappeared under mysterious circumstances in something that was known as the Scoured Star Incident. And I will talk about the Scoured Star Incident in a little bit. And lastly, we have the Wayfinders. The Wayfinders are the explorers of the Starfinder Society. They are the ones that want to go out, be the first to set boots on a new planet. They want to have that first contact with an alien species. This is what they live for. And it doesn't really matter where that planet is. They like to use the drift for exploration, and if they find something that hasn't been documented, well, you might not see them for a while they do their exploring bit. All of these factions within Starfinder Society work together. While they do have their own individual and separate goals, they do come together to keep the society as a whole. The good of the many outweighs the good of the few. That would be one way to think about these factions and how they operate with things. As I mentioned just a little bit earlier, there is a leadership position when it comes to the Starfinder Society, and one of those roles is the First Seeker, but that is not the only role. There is actually 3 pillars of leadership when it comes to Starfinder Society. The First Seeker, who is elected by their peers based on their own exploration experience and merit. The second pillar is called the Forum. The Forum is also a group of elected officials. They will also work with the First Seeker. While the hierarchy is not very clearly laid out from the source materials or what I could find online, the way I would interpret this is you have your general membership elects your leadership council, which would be the Forum, and the Forum would then vote on who to be the First Seeker. You don't have to run it that way in your games, but that's how it's going to be running in mine. Many of the Forum leaders can also have other leadership type roles. You'll find that many of them are venture captains, some of them are lodge leaders. These are various small houses or small guilds, I guess you could call them, of the Starfinder Society spread out through the galaxy. And lastly, there is a superpowered artificial intelligence that helps to guide new members of the Starfinder Society. It does its introductions with them, and it also provides its experience, its wealth of knowledge to the leadership base of the Starfinder Society. Before we move on with guidance and checking in with the Scoured Stars incident, if you're enjoying the video today, please tell me by giving it a thumbs up, as that helps me know what content to make for all of you. If you're finding some value out of this today, then please consider hitting that subscribe button with that bell notification so that you know when my videos are available. We're getting very, very close to hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. I was really hoping to get that done by the end of January. That would be fantastic if we could do that. Thank you so much for all your support. The channel has really been growing over this last few months, and it's just been great. The support has been overwhelming. So thank you everyone who has subscribed, and for all of you who have yet to subscribe, thank you in advance. On top of being a super-powered artificial intelligence, Guidance is also a repository of some of the most influential, the most important Starfinders who have existed. It has uploaded the consciousness of Starfinders who have been deemed worthy to persist into perpetuity. And this system can pull on their knowledge to give their guidance to the leadership team of the Starfinder Society and impart its wisdom to its new recruits. You will also find that most First Seekers are uploaded to Guidance for their consciousness. And this is all done willingly, by the way. It's not some malicious machine that just takes consciousness of someone who isn't interested. But on rare occasions, there are some First Seekers who have denied wanting to be uploaded. Unfortunately, the most common reason that a First Seeker or a influential Starfinder will not be uploaded to Guidance is simply because they died before the process could be completed. Guidance is also involved in the process of choosing a new First Seeker when the need arises. Guidance will also commonly follow the popular will of Starfinder Society. If a vote is going one direction, Guidance will usually follow suit, but there has been a few times when it has disagreed and it has not cast its vote in support of the majority. I mentioned earlier that the Lore Spire complex is the home base of operations for Starfinder Society. It is in the ring section of Absalom's station. Thanks to the mysterious Starstone on which Absalom is built on, adventurers can always return to Absalom's station within a handful of days. This makes your deep space exploration very easy when you know you can get home very quickly. Just a point of reference, you can get to Absalom's station from anywhere in the universe. Anywhere in the universe within a handful of days. You can do that because the drift is weird that way. And if you're curious on the drift, I have talked about it, and the video will be up here or in the description below. The Lore Spire complex is a place of learning, a place of meetings, a place to share ideas and information. There are countless meeting halls in the Lore Spire. Important dignitaries and other visitors have been known to stay in the Lore Spire. There's also dormitories for all the explorers and the students that live there. Not to mention the vast amounts of computer data storage which Guidance lives on, and also the amount of information that Starfinder Society has been storing. Another important room when it comes to the Lore Spire complex is the Hall of Discovery. This is where the First Seeker and the Forum will usually have their debates to see which way they want to go, or talk about some new threat, or what part of space they want to go exploring. The Scoured Stars incident occurred in 316 AG. This is when the First Seeker Jadnura took about 4/5 of the entirety of the Starfinder Society assets, resources, personnel, explorers, military, a lot of stuff went into this region of space known as Scoured Stars. Starfinder Society had actually written off this area of space as somewhere you just don't go to, simply because some expeditions that they had sent never came back. After you lose a few expeditions, you generally stop wasting resources and don't go there. Now, Jadnura had actually discovered a mysterious artifact known as the Tear, and with this artifact, she was actually able to take all of these resources and all of these assets, and they had set up a small base of operations. Now, the Starfinder Society got a little concerned when, shortly after their base of operations had been established, and all of the resources and personnel were sitting in this known to be dangerous area of space, they lost contact with this outpost. This colony just stopped responding to messages. They ghosted them, bro. A rescue mission was mounted. That is when Luasi El Sibo was promoted to First Seeker, and she was the one who led the expedition to go get her predecessor, and the money and the personnel, the resources, as much as she could anyways. Luazi, the new First Seeker, was able to find Jadnura and many of the other Starfinders who were trapped in this sector of space. There was actually a shield of a special kind of energy called Aurum energy. This was blocking communications from coming in, and it was also making travel into the system difficult. When Luazi got there, what they found was that the system had actually been invaded by an alien race no one had seen before. It was discovered that this alien race called Jinsul had taken over the area. Jinsuls are a nasty, six-legged bug-like creature, and they also have giant arms that they could crush you with. Jinsuls come from a planet called Otarak. This was obviously located inside the section of space called Scoured Stars. It was discovered that the Jinsuls worshipped a deity called Cadrical. And of all the races and all the aliens that lived inside the Scoured Stars, the Jinsuls were the most devout followers. It was the year 317 when the Jinsuls finally made contact with Starfinder Society, and they did so by attacking the colony that was set up in the Scoured Stars. Let me know what you think of the Jinsuls in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Starfinder Society. I hope that you can use this information to enhance and deepen the worlds that you have at your table. The Starfinder Society is actually super easy to work into any story, no matter where you're having it in the Starfinder universe. There can almost always be an in-game explanation as to why there's a small outpost here if you're not having your game set inside of the Pact Worlds. I really like the Starfinder Society. I think the concepts are really fleshed out, and the groups, the subgroups, are really easy to work into. There's really something for everyone here. And you would hope so, because this is supposed to be one of the main factions in Starfinder, much like the Pathfinder Society is a major player in Pathfinder. One would think that the Starfinder Society is an evolution of the Pathfinder Society. If you've made it up into this point, thank you so much for listening. Up on the screen, I will have a playlist of Pact World related videos for you, so please check that out. YouTube will have also made a recommendation for you. My name's Nathaniel. You've been watching The Maple Table. Thank you so much for your subscription. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.